Morning, my name is Nicholas Walsley, student ID NIWA 05822. This is for the GSL 200 Week 4 lab. During this lab, I did the 1911 Commander. It's used. A lot of wear and tear on Vid1 is determined and serviceable by the individual selling it because they couldn't get the final work, so it'd be a perfect project for this lab. First thing I did was make a plan, obviously. I had to determine what parts were serviceable and unserviceable because it's highly used. I had to measure a lot of the internal critical areas, make sure that they could be returned back to serviceable condition. Once I determined what was serviceable, the fire, the frame, the slide, the barrel, all were still in serviceable condition. I was able to revert them back. But there are a few parts, the terminate, springs, sear, disconnector, and the hammer. All those parts had to be replaced. The firing pin, things of that nature. And then, in addition to return it back to service condition, I also did a few modifications to it and upgraded my. So those parts I had to replace as well. The first thing I did was I worked with the frame. The frame is a serialized component. It's also kind of the lifeblood of the firearm. All the components attached to it, the fire mechanism, the rest slide, everything attaches to that. So I thought best to start at that beginning. Because it's used and everything else, and it had a lot of wear marks, machine marks in there, high spots, low spots, carry marks, all that kind of stuff. So I first set off to remove all those marks. I don't want to be too aggressive because this was used. I try to use a lot of stones by hand. I did a lot of rough cutting with the honing stones with the Dremel tool. Use that, and then did a lot of file finishing up. I did a few filing, but mostly it was stones and the rotary tool. The areas of main concern was the dust cover, which is where the recoil spring rides, and if it was full of machine marks and radial grooves, it can hinder the smoothness of the action. So I went in there with the half-inch drum, sanding drum, sanded it out, honed it with the honing stone, and then finished up with the polishing bit, so that I get that smooth. Next, I focused a lot on the rails. Same thing. I don't want to remove material since the actions, the frame slide fit was already slightly loose. I didn't want to take too much material away, so I just used the wire wheel to remove the old finish, and then which identify any nasty galls or anything like that. Used a fine stone, clean up a few of the marks, but then I finished up with another polishing bit, kind of smooth things out a little bit without having to remove excess materials. Next, I went to the feed ramp. The feed ramp and the barrel, where the barrel sits. This was a no feed ramp barrel, so because of that, there has to be transition between the frame to the barrel in order for the rounds to feed properly. This feed ramp had numerous machine marks, a lot of deep gouges. So in order to eliminate all that stuff, I went in with the honing stone again, and then hone those away. So when it's a slower variable speed, to get that again, I don't want to move too much material in this critical area. And with a used firearm, you don't know what someone had done before, so I don't want to hone at someone else's machining or anything like that nature. So I just remove the machine marks and then finish up with a polishing bob and clean things up. Next, I went for the frame. I flipped it upside down and looked at the magazine well. Magazine well area, the bevel, there was little to no bevel. So I went in there and did all that stuff. Again, I was able to utilize some files and stones to kind of get the pre-shape. But then I used a rotary tool to do 90% of my cutting. I got a really good, nice bevel in the magazine well, and then use a sanding cartridge actually to go ahead and clear out the inside of the mag well where the magazine rides. With the frame completely done and satisfactory, I went ahead and worked on the slide. Again, the slide is a very crucial component. It houses a lot of the critical stuff that actually makes fire on fire. So I went ahead and focused on this. Again, same thing as the frame. I went ahead and removed a lot of machine wear marks. crucial areas again was the barrel way, which for the barrel rides. But using the same technique that they did in the dust cover in the frame, I used a half-inch drum, went in there, smoothed some things out. Being careful not to take too much material away, and didn't overcut anything. And then honed it out with the sanding with the stone, attached to the drill bit, honed it all out, and then I finished it with a polish and bob again to get a nice smooth action. Try to really create a nice smooth firearm. It's going to be a duty carry pistol, so I want to make everything smooth as possible. Next, I went ahead and worked on the slide rails. Again, same thing as I did with the frame rails. Didn't want to take it too much away, so I wire wheel a lot of it off. Went in with the fine tooth comb with a little stone of mine, and I kind of removed a few machine marks and a few areas of concern that were like a little greater than I wanted them to be. Moved all that stuff. Next, I went to the breech face. Breech face, I didn't want to utilize a rotary tool there, so that was all strictly just by stones to kind of clean that area. But the disconnector cam surface, which were the disconnector and the hammer ride, in order to cock and decock, I utilized the rotary tool for that area by using the felt polishing bob after I finished with stones to clean the polish up that area. After that, I went on and I had to modify a few of the parts. The extractor, they had you can create a little bevel, the mouth of the extractor hook, gauge. When I clean that up with utilizing the drill tool, utilize the 5-pin stop. Started off, I used my stones to modify it and bring it lower than the slide surface. But then I went ahead and the camming surface that the hammer rides on, I had polish that up with utilizing the rotary tool. Again, give it a nice smooth transition between the 5-pin stop and the disconnector slot. That way it's a smooth transition the whole time and everything. There's no big gritty surfaces grabbing it. Mainspring housing, I utilize a small stone attachment for the rotary tool. I was able to get in there and remove a lot of the internal machine marks. A lot of the mainspring housings on the market right now are cast material and they're made from solid bar stock, and so they have a lot of fouling and just machine marks. Just a lot of things that would hinder the smooth action of the plunger of the mainspring. Went ahead and clean all that up, and luckily I have a small felt bob as well, so I was able to go in there and follow behind it with some flits and polish of it as well. At the same time, I used my Crytex bit and dehorned a lot of the internal parts. A lot of them, come in the package or just stock as is, have sharp edges. So I used the Crytex bit to go ahead and dehorn all those, give them a nice little radius on all the edges to prevent any hang-ups or anything of that nature. All right, that's it for video 1. I'm going to proceed to video 2.